Mark Cuban was just on a podcast, and you have to listen to what he just said about the metaverse.
And the worst part is people are fucking buying real estate in these places. I mean, that's just the dumbest shit ever. The dumbest. Did I say it was dumb? No, that's not strong enough. Super meta, immaculately dumb.
Well, this is a bit awkward, isn't it? Mark Cuban's a pretty smart guy. I'm not going to go into all of his credentials. If anyone's unfamiliar with him, you can look him up on Google. He is a very well respected investor. He's involved in the Web3 space, he's involved in the crypto space. So he's not just saying this on a whim. As someone who's invested quite a lot of money myself in the metaverse, how does this make me feel? How does this make you feel? I'm a pretty big believer in the metaverse and specifically the Upland metaverse, and maybe you are as well. People have been sending me this clip, and I've been seeing it all over social media. And as a content creator around the Upland metaverse, I have to agree with him 100%. What he continues to say after this clip that I just showed you is extremely thoughtful, and I think that's exactly what the problem is with the metaverse and what can be done to change it. I'm going to break down what else Mark Cuban had to say about the metaverse, and I'm going to give some commentary on how I think Upland can address some of these issues.
Mark Cuban, what's the metaverse?
The metaverse is anything you want it to be. This is the metaverse. We are in the metaverse right now as we speak.
Thanks, Mark, for that explanation. I'm over here on Google and I searched for what is a metaverse, and here with what is the metaverse for dummies. Now, I know this isn't about you, you're not a dummy. I'm saying if I was a dummy, it says the metaverse is a term that is used to describe the virtual world that exists online. It's made up of all different websites, social media platforms, and games that people use. In other words, it's pretty much synonymous with cyberspace. And this is similar to what Mark Cuban just said, that the metaverse can be whatever you want it to be. The Upland Metaverse was created in 2019, and already now for 3 years, Upland has been selling millions of NFTs as plots of land, structures, NFLPA legits, vehicles. Now Upland has a partnership with FC Porto in Porto, Portugal, and the Mangueira Samba School in Rio de Janeiro. Upland will also start selling NFTs related to these brands, but for the better part of these 3 years, the majority of these sales have just been plots of land. If that's the case, what's keeping people around for such a long period of time? We've seen many other projects in the crypto space come and go in a period of time much shorter than 3 years. I've been playing Upland for almost a year and a half only, but over the past 3 years, Upland has been seeing constant growth. With new city releases approximately once every month, what's keeping people logging in on a regular basis and engaging with the platform? Now I'm going to hand it back over to Mark to see what he has to say about the quantity of land that is available in these metaverses.
There's unlimited volumes that you can create. Now, after you create a community, not before, but after you create a community, then you can find places, depending on how that community works, that can have perceived value because of access or whatever, right? But beforehand, based off of a traditional real estate model, dumbest motherfucking shit ever.
And once again, those are some pretty harsh words from Mark Cuban. In this clip, he talks about two really important things. The first one being scarcity of land, and the second one being community. When you talk about scarcity of land in the metaverse like Upland, it's a little bit different than some of these other metaverses like the Sandbox or Decentraland. In the Sandbox and Decentraland, you have a world that is being created from nothing. Neighbors mean absolutely nothing. Your ability to teleport from one place to another place within that world is instantaneous. And that is vastly different from Upland. Upland is mapped to the real world, where you buy virtual representations of real world addresses. With Upland's goal of recreating the real world in the metaverse, there is lots of opportunity to release lots and lots and lots of land. When you look at the entire metaverse within Upland, you can see the potential for there to be a much greater supply of land than demand for land. However, if you do start breaking it down into different cities, you can see that in some areas the demand for land is much higher than the supply. If you look at cities that have been sold out like San Francisco and Manhattan, then the supply is clearly not infinite. The entire city has been minted out, and if you want to live there, then you're going to have to pay high prices to do so. And within Upland, you do not have the ability to just teleport yourself from one city to another city. You have to travel. and traveling takes both time and money. And these friction points is what makes Upland fundamentally different than some of these other metaverses. The second half of that clip, he talks about communities. Now, Upland is building this community. Its pillars are play, earn, and connect, where players are able to connect to each other in many ways. One of the long awaited features that has just been announced is for players to be able to define their in home address. Players who live in the same community are able to connect to each other. Players work together to create nodes and build up specific neighborhoods and cities where in the future you will be able to spawn new collections based on neighborhood development and interaction, whether it be the number of businesses that are in that neighborhood, the number of structures and different types of structures that are there, and the overall economic activity that that neighborhood generates. Mark Cuban is stressing this importance, and we can see this already in Upland. There are some very strong communities that are planning some really exciting things, and players are eagerly waiting these additions to the metaverse in order to continue to build their communities. It's starting to sound like Mark is talking about what's wrong with all the other metaverses and what's absolutely right with Upland. What has started in Upland as a metaverse where you can buy, sell, and trade land has been transforming into a metaverse where you can do a lot more. You can open up your own business or meta venture within the metaverse to resell some of these NFLPA legits and soon other types of legits from other brands. Vehicles are entering the metaverse where you will need cars in order to travel from one place to another place, vans to transport goods from manufacturing plants to showrooms. You can open up your own shipping company or Uber. With a Samba school, we're going to be able to dance in the metaverse most likely. And with the cars, who can forget about car racing? And on top of that, you can earn from winning these car races. And who can forget this Halloween competition that was held where the community that had the most decorations on their homes won free Spark? If that's not community, I don't know what is, Mark. I encourage you all to share this video with your friends and family or anyone who told you that buying land in the metaverse is the dumbest shit ever.